So, how to build a summer body? Now, we are already in April, and I wanted to make this video sooner because I don't want to upload it when it's too late. But I was very sick, so I couldn't do anything. But now I can, so I'm still sick, but I want to make this video for you guys. So, first of all, what should you focus on for summer? You should focus on being lean, okay? It's not winter anymore, so you can't go bulking now because you'll end up with a lot of fat in your body. And for summer, we want to maybe sacrifice some muscle because we want to become lean because that is what's the most attractive for everybody, especially for girls. So, what should you do depending on your body type? If you're fat, it's easy, lose weight. Now, if you are skinny, you can either lean bulk or do a fast bulk and then cut because I do want you to build some muscle. Otherwise, it's not going to look as good. However, I want you to be lean with some muscle. So you can do a lean bulk or you can do a fast bulk around 1 or 2 months, depends on if you want to be ready for June or July. So if you want to be ready for June, then you can do a fast bulk of 1 month and then cut. Or if you want to be ready for July, you can do a fast big bulk for 2 months and then cut. Now, this is if you are skinny, really skinny. If you are skinny fat, like I was and like many people are, you can either lose fat or you can do a fast bulk but shorter because you already have a lot of fat. So you can do a 1 month fast bulk and then cut. Now, let me get one thing clear. By cutting, I mean losing fat, but also I want you to keep putting on muscle. So, for example, your diet will be about losing weight, losing fat, but you will still go to the gym and you will still hit your protein goal so you can build muscle while also losing fat. Okay? And now, what muscles should you focus on? Now, obviously, you want to target all muscles because that's what makes you look good. But there are specific muscles that make you better, that make you look more aesthetic. And those are the side delts and the lats because these two muscles give you that wide look, that V taper that women find so attractive. And the chest and the biceps because, well, women love some big titties like we do, but they love it in men. So a good set of pecs is always very attractive. And also the biceps, which I think I don't have to explain why those are attractive. Now, what exercises should you do for each muscle? First, we have the lateral raises for the side delts. Very obvious. It's just one exercise, to be honest, but it does have many variations that you can look up. But basically, lateral raises. Then we have a chest supported row, a lat pull down, and a cable row for the lats. Now, the chest supported rows are the best for growing those lats, that back, and giving that sense of being very wide and big. Now, the lat pull downs are more for thickness, to add some thickness in your back, not so much about being wide, but more of having more muscle there. And cable rows are also a great exercise for the lats. Then we have the chest, the good old bench press, and the incline dumbbell press or the machine press. Now, I do want you to focus more on the incline press because The top part of the chest, it's the most attractive, and it's what gives you that feeling of the chest being full. So the incline is more important than the average bench press. Okay, so you can do, for example, if you go 3 times per week to the gym, one day is bench press and the other two incline. Okay, you can also do one day of a machine press, because those are actually, I found that they are very good, because you can push a lot harder without the risk of dying, basically. So try it, because it's pretty good, to be honest. And lastly, we have the bicep, which is basically biceps curl. Okay, you have some variations like the hammer curls and the preacher curls, which are great. You can do variations, but basically a bicep curl. Okay, these are the muscles and exercises to focus on that give you that aesthetic and attractive look. However, you must also work the rest of the body to have a balanced physique, because imagine that you have big biceps but little to no triceps, basically. That will look really weird. So you have to have a balanced body with those muscles being the best. And how should you do them correctly? You definitely have to do them slow and controlled. Okay, weight doesn't matter. Time under tension is what matters. Okay, don't ego lift. Your brain doesn't care if it's 10 kilos you're curling or 5 kilos. What it cares about is time under tension and intensity. It has to be intense. Because, for example, if you do 3 sets of 10 reps of a bicep curl and you do it quickly, like 2 seconds, the exercise is just 2 seconds, then okay, you do 2 times per 10, that is 20, then you basically do a minute of a bicep curl in the entirety of the workout. But if you do it slower and controlled, then, for example, 5 seconds per exercise, then it is much longer. So 5 times 10 is 50, times 3 is 150. So you compare 150 to 60, and if you do it slower and controlled, you could say that your bicep will grow 2.5 times more than if you do it just quick. Okay? So don't ego lift. Nobody cares. Also, rest. I like to say 2.5 minutes, but between 2 and 3 minutes for the big muscles like the chest, for example, a chest press, bench press, and the back, and around 1 and 2 minutes for the smaller muscles like the biceps and side delts. Okay, I like to do around 2.5 minutes for the big ones and 2:45 for the smaller, but basically at least 1.5 minutes for the smaller muscles, between 1.5 and 2 minutes. I also recommend you highly to search on YouTube how to do each exercise correctly, because form is also what matters. It's very important, because if you do the exercise wrong, then you can target other muscles that you don't want to target. And the muscles that you want to target are not worked out correctly. So you will grow less. And also, obviously, train to failure. Train hard, train to failure. Not from the first set, but the last two. I personally like to do 4 sets, and the last two is basically to failure. Now, I'm going to give you a cheat code, okay? And it is to increase your testosterone, okay? Now, this is me selling you my shit, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. But low testosterone is the cause of man boobs. So if you want to get rid of the man boobs, then you should increase your testosterone. And also, what testosterone is known for is for building muscle. It builds so much muscle so quickly. And also, you lose fat while gaining muscle at the same time. So it's a cheat code. But anyways, check it out if you want. No pressure, okay? Now, let's focus on the diet. What should I eat? What should you eat? Because the diet is very, very important. First of all, you must calculate your calorie intake, okay? Now for this, you can go on any calculator and just put your data, your measurements, and it will give you the number that you need. And that number is your maintenance calorie intake. So that means that if you eat those number of calories, then you will not gain or lose weight. You will stay the same. And what you need to do to, let's say, gain weight is to eat around 300 to 500 calories more than that. Okay, so let's say that your calorie maintenance is 2500, okay, so 2500, then you will need to eat around 3000 to gain some muscle. And then if you want to do the opposite and you want to lose fat, then you have to eat around 2000 calories. It depends on how aggressive you want the change to be. But for example, if you eat 1000 calories more than you should, then there's a point where you stop gaining muscle and you start gaining fat. So more is not always better. And if you eat so much less food than you should, then you will also be losing muscle. So I recommend about 500 calories more or less, depending on your goal. And now you must know the macro split. So, for example, to lose weight, you need a 40% protein, 30% carbs, and 30% fats. Okay, good fats like avocado, like the nuts, or cooking with olive oil or butter. Okay, focus on protein, obviously, and low carb diet. And if you want to do a quick bolt, then more carbs, 40% carbs because they give a lot of calories. So 40% carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fats, okay? Now, a quick tip is to plan your diet instead of mindlessly trying to get those calories or those macros in. Plan your diet so you know what you should be eating and you eat correctly, okay? Now, obviously, eat healthy. No junk food, no sugar, and eat one ingredient foods. So basically, meat, chicken, potatoes, or whatever, just one ingredient foods. No bullshit. And also, a quick tip about planning your diet is to use a calorie calculator like MyFitnessPal or whatever you want to use. I use another one, okay? I use Fat Secret. But yeah, just track it, and you can also have some meals saved. So, for example, you know how many calories are in that meal. And lastly is to get plenty of sleep. This is so important, okay? Because your body recovers when you sleep. Your body, your muscles grow, not when you go to the gym. When you go to the gym, you break down the muscle. It is when you recover that the muscle grows. So it's super important that you get a high quality, good sleep, okay? Aim for 8 to 9 hours, depends on your life, but aim to get at least 7. Now this is it for me. I hope you enjoy the video. Follow these tips and you will be shredded for summer. And all the bitches will be in love with you.